How many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into 14 Personnel Fantasy. I am your host, Justin Wright. Today, we are talking the fantasy impact of Cam Newton re-signing with the Carolina Panthers. You know, what does it mean for him moving forward? And more importantly, what does it mean for DJ Moore, Christian McCaffery, to a much lesser extent, Robby Anderson? You know, where do these guys fall now in the fantasy landscape? Before we get into it, though, remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us at our social accounts on Twitter. Again, up in the top corner, that corner, and below. All right, let's get into it. The question, like we said, what is Cam Newton's fantasy value now? And I don't put a lot of stock in what happened last season. Matt Rule, Bill Belichick, very, very different coaches. Bill Belichick obviously leaned heavily into the lack of weapons, Cam Newton's perceived inability to throw the ball. So he was basically turned into, you know, the best goal line running back in the NFL. The offense was a joke. It was a disaster. They were throwing, 24 times a game only, which if you watch Matt Rule's offense, that is not what he would like to do. So I do think last year is going to be, less of the norm. And we do see Cam Newton throw the ball more this season. How effectively he does that is an entirely different question. I mean, when you look at the weapons from last season to this season, obviously in New England, you're dealing with Jacoby Myers, Damian Harris, James White. Now you have, you got Tommy Tremble. Why I let off with him, I don't know. DJ Moore, Christian McCaffery, and Robby Anderson. So obviously it's a massive upgrade as far as the weapons Cam Newton has. So I do think that helps him as far as a passer, and again, I don't think he ends up becoming the entire red zone offense either. So he will take a hit as far as rushing upside goes. I mean, all of that said, he's probably, a back end top 12, top 15 quarterback. He's going to slot in with Matt Ryan, Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins, as a weekly streaming option. And that's fine. You're not expecting a ton from Cam Newton. When he even takes over the offense is unknown. If Phillip Walker balls out this week on Sunday, there's a good chance he could be the starter moving forward. So it's a very fluid situation. But if, and I think when Cam Newton gets his shot, again, you're looking at a weekly streaming option. But what does that mean for, let's start with DJ Moore here. He has been terrible the last month because obviously Sam Darnold is absolute trash. He's a terrible quarterback. We know that. He knows it. The Panthers know it. So I don't think his value can go any lower. The weekly floor, it's probably going to stay the same with Cam just due to inconsistencies and, needing to rebuild that chemistry. But the weekly ceiling, I think, goes back to, what we've seen from DJ Moore over his career, 15 to 25 points. That's where he can live. So I do think DJ Moore remains a top 20 wide receiver, even if it's right on the fringe. But, I don't think we see him return to what we saw the first 4 weeks, which is, a top 10 wide receiver. I don't think that's the likely outcome here. When you're looking at Christian McCaffery, it's difficult to gauge his value because if Cam Newton becomes the red zone back like he was in New England, obviously that hurts Christian McCaffery. Whenever you lose touchdown upside, that's not what you want to see. But again, this offense runs through CMC, so he's most likely still a top 5 running back just on volume alone. We know that. That's not going to change. Maybe he's not the RB1, but he sure as hell staying in the top 5 at the very worst. So CMC, you're fine. And then Robby Anderson, who cares? Cut Robby Anderson. I don't care if Cam Newton starts throwing for 5,000 yards. Robby Anderson's not going to be relevant. He hasn't been relevant this season. He's just been historically terrible. So cut Robby Anderson, whatever. The only pieces that matter in this offense are DJ Moore, CMC, and now obviously Cam Newton, depending on the matchup. All right, that's all we got. Remember, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us over on Twitter. Catch me there at Justin_14P. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
How many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.